Good morning, everyone. It's Kyra Wong, and I'm here with Pam Pikkert for a Magical Unicorn Leading Lady interview. And I'm actually super excited because Pam is one of the most interesting people I know. Her mind works in a completely different way. And there's a childlike quality about Pam that I really adore. So thank you for doing this with me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So Pam said something interesting. She said that women are like a baby species who haven't really been allowed to be fully human. So expand on that. Like, what did you mean exactly by that?
Okay, so my opinion on this is that we haven't had the vote for more than about 100 years here in Canada. In some countries, the women don't have the vote. And you think about the fact that until the 70s, you had to have a man go with you to get a credit card or a mortgage. And even my mom, when she was going one time to buy a mattress, the salesman actually implied to her that, you know, if all she was going to be doing is taking the mattress and putting it in the back of different men's pickup trucks, that, you know, why did she need a high quality mattress? So I know it's horrible.
What does that even mean?
That means that she obviously sleeps around if she is not married.
It's a joke. Oh.
No, he was not joking.
Oh,
he was
meant
very,
it.
very serious. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if we haven't had full rights to do everything that makes us a full citizen within our community, until recently, I don't think that we've actually had the time to decide what it is we even actually want. I think we've just kind of followed the path, even until, even when I was having children. I don't even think I gave it any thought. I had children because that was what you did. You got married and then you had children. That was just the expected path that you follow. And then I stayed home and I did most of the housework,
And homework,
yes, because that was what women did.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. I just don't think that we have even given any thought. And there haven't been women doctors very long, and there are very few women CEOs. So there's a whole echelon of the world that we haven't explored because we couldn't.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. And then in terms of women supporting women, I feel like we could do a lot better job.
Yeah.
Like definitely we need men to help us rise up and give us space at the table and all those things. But I truly believe that women are really hard on each other, a lot of them. And how do we go about showing women that, listen, we are already the underdogs. So the more that we are criticizing each other, judging each other, putting each other down, like the harder it is for us to rise up. So where do we go from here? How do we encourage women to be better to women?
I think we need to allow each other to make the choices that are best for our life. So feminism, yes, of course it means that we can go out into the workforce and do anything we want, but it also means we have to support another woman who has chosen to stay home. If that's her calling, that's her calling. And why should we vilify her for doing that? She's not less of a woman for women's rights. She's still engaged fully in the life that she has chosen.
Yes.
And that is what we're fighting for.
Yes, and don't you find too, like, I know this from my own personal experience, like I'm one of these people who are very corporate driven, very like go. I absolutely love my kids, but if I was a stay-at-home mom, I'd probably be like depressed and, you know, pulling my hair out. I wouldn't be the best mom. Like I'm a way better mom by having the space to be this person. And when I come home, I really appreciate my children. But I know I get judged for the decisions I've made because, oh, you know, you missed this and you weren't there for that, and you bought cookies for the big sale. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's just like, oh my God, like really, like I'm doing the best I can.
Years ago, within our own industry, there was a young mother. She had a baby, and she didn't want to stay home. And she was very upset because she felt like she was going to be judged. And that's exactly what I said to her. I said, if you're going to be a better mother because you have a nanny at home during the day and you're still able to fulfill the passion that you have for your career, choose that. And you probably will be judged. But it is what it is, right?
And I think too, like, if a man wants to stay home and take care of the kids,
oh, he would be equally judged.
Oh my goodness, and that's wrong too. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, let him take care of the kids. Like, men are completely capable of being wonderful caregivers, and I mean, so let create that space so that, you know, they don't have to feel like the unicorn in the field of horses there are, and
they're not less men. They're not less masculine because they've chosen to take care of their own children.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm sure they're harshly judged, not maybe by women and men, who, if they decide to be in that role, right? So another interesting point you made the other day when we talked is how sexism is tied to racism.
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
Yes. So my perspective on this is that the isms are where we look for little tiny things that make us different from each other. So men and women, they look for ways to be better than each other. And women have kind of come out fighting, and not always in the nicest way, since this whole movement. And we need to make sure that we're not going to what we didn't like when the roles were switched, right?
Yeah.
So we still need to be kind and gracious and supporting of all the men in our lives as well. My take on it is that when you are looking at racism is something where somebody is considered less than because of the color of their skin. Obviously, that is just what racism is. And it's sometimes a very unconscious bias that we carry, and people are treated differently.
Yes.
And if you've ever gone out with anyone who is not, of pink purity.
Oh, I've only gone out with people who are not pink purity.
Yes, and so you've seen it.
Oh, I've experienced all of it.
Yes, and it's awful. But it's the same kind of small way to differentiate ourselves. And so I think the women of minorities, and so if their men are being made feel less than, and then you put sexism inside of the racism, the women of minorities are, they are fighting harder than we are. As white women, we have enjoyed a privilege that I don't think we fully can appreciate until we actually give it serious thought.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, I've talked about this before, but there was a study by McKinsey and Company and leadin.org. There was this chart, right, that showed everybody at the bottom, all the bottom positions, all the people, and then as you moved up that level to the C-suite positions, it was pretty much predominantly all white men, and then a little sliver of minority men, and then probably just the same amount of little sliver for white women.
Right.
But if you were a minority woman, you essentially, if you're a woman or a minority, you have to be a unicorn to get to those top C-suite positions, right? And when I saw that, I thought, wow, this is so wrong and so depressing, and this has got to change, right? And luckily, the research is showing that diversity really helps companies thrive and become more profitable.
Yes.
And I guess if there's money attached to it, people will be more motivated to, encourage that sort of diversity. But when you actually look at that, you just sort of feel this injustice, and it's really, it's sad, right? It's really quite heartbreaking. So
I am very appreciative, though, of the fact that there are certain women like Reese Witherspoon and Oprah, and they're actually doing their best to bring female stories into the mainstream. And the same with female minority stories. And not where they are the cliche of whatever that group has been seen as over the year, but they're actually fully human beings. And they have the right to be angry about things, and they have the right to be heartbroken about things. And they're not seen as just whatever little snippet we have decided to give that, because until our children who are growing up see women in leading roles.
You can't be what you can't see.
Yeah, exactly, and you can't accept it.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of anger, it makes me think of the Me Too movement, and when that first came out, it was almost like boom, it was like a volcano and the top blew off, right? And I remember when that happened, I was like, wow, this is a really interesting time in history. And then I think all the ladies were wearing black to the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever that was. I don't watch those shows too much because I'm too busy working. But anyways, I was just really struck by that. And there's been so much talk about it since then. Was it a good thing for women? Was it a bad thing for women? I actually think it was a really great thing because it started conversations, right? And where do we go from here?
I think it's, well, at first we were so mad, right? And then
we've always been mad.
Well, we've always been mad, but we had an surface.
Yes, we had an opportunity to let it out, so people men could know how mad we actually were about it, because we had to bottle it up for so long, right?
But then when I was talking about it, I was also trying to change the perspective, because I don't want to, for example, talk to Mike and make Mike feel completely vilified on behalf of all evil white men ever. Because he can't hear a conversation if I'm standing and yelling at him.
That's true.
The conversation has to turn slightly. So this happened to me. This is how it made me feel. If you see this happening, could you please intervene?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That was what the conversation had to be.
Yeah. No, because there's very good men out there. And
Oh,
listen,
there's so many good
we
men.
have boys, right? We
Yes.
have boys, so we care about
Yes.
how they turn out in life, who
Yes.
they are.
So my son, he is 17.
Yeah.
And he knows my position. It's not like I'm quiet about things
Yeah,
at
yeah.
home or on social media. So he knows my take on things. But he's actually come to me and we have had some really great conversations. And he has asked me to watch certain documentaries that just twisted the view as well. And I love that. I love challenging my own viewpoint on things.
Yeah.
Because it's really important.
Yes,
right?
I do it
you
every
add,
day.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So it's very important to me as his mother that he still knows that I support him fully and want him to succeed fully in his life as well. And
Yeah.
I want him to be kind
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes total sense.
Yeah.
And so in terms of glass ceiling, so Me Too is a social glass ceiling.
Mm.
What's an emotional glass ceiling you've experienced and how have you overcome it?
There's one I'm working to overcome.
Yeah, I was
Actually,
gonna say,
yeah.
I shouldn't talk about it
Yeah.
because a lot of them are works in progress.
Yes,
And for
yeah.
anybody who says they don't have an emotional glass ceiling, I do
Yes.
not believe you, because this is not a woman
Yeah.
thing either. Men
No.
have them too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just how honest are we going to be with
Yeah.
each other about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the things I struggle with is I can come up with an idea, right? I mean, 20 million ideas a day. And sometimes you feel like you have like a little idea bubble and you take it to somebody and they look at it and they just go, I don't like it. Exactly. I pop it.
I pop it.
Yes.
Oh.
And they don't, well, I like this bubble, or can I help you make this idea a little bit better? And it's very hard. I don't know who's strong enough out there to, without any support,
Yeah, it's hard.
just move on, right? And it's very easy to be negative. It's so easy to just run around popping bubbles.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
I've experienced it even with the Magical Unicorn
yeah.
Project, because obviously when you're going out there doing something completely different, it's challenging people,
Yeah.
right? But that was kind of the whole point, which is why I didn't totally explain it all when I first came out. I just started doing it.
Yeah.
And then there was people who were, oh, this is, I don't know what's going on over here, but she's trying something new, so good for her. And then of course other people who are like, ah, what a total freak show, right? But when you challenge people on difference and then get them to acknowledge, okay, 1 year later, right? Who were you? You know, how did you view this? And acknowledge how you look at difference and
Yeah.
your reaction to it. Because I think as humans, it's normal not to necessarily embrace difference. It feels weird to us, right?
Yeah.
But then if we don't start to live with higher consciousness and awareness, we can't embrace difference.
Yes.
And we need to do that, whether it's, you know, creating more gender balance or seeing minorities at the top or sexual minorities as well. Like gay people
Yeah.
are not less of human
Yeah.
beings just because they choose to love somebody of the same sex. I mean, for me, it's really hard to understand.
Yeah. And they really need our support.
Yes.
Right? Like if you look at what's happening in the world, there are certain countries where it is legal to be put in prison or worse.
Oh yeah.
For being gay.
Yes, yes.
Right? And I'm going, what is going on?
I
Like,
know.
does that threaten you so much?
And it does,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
For some people, it totally does.
Yeah.
But so part of this is helping to encourage people to see the oneness in our humanity.
Yes.
Because like it or not, we
Yeah.
are all one
Yeah.
as humans. We are all one.
Yeah.
And this desire to be superior and better and all the rest of it, that's just ego and it's total BS, right? We gotta overcome that.
And I think if we actually become a little bit more intentional, we can start catching ourselves.
Yes.
There's a lovely, lovely BDM. She just came into the industry, and she was almost apologetic about her age because
she's young?
Because she's young, and she didn't want to tell me how old she
Aw,
was because
yeah,
people
yeah.
say to her,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, what can you know?"
Yes.
And then a very dear broker friend of mine felt the exact same way. People would say to her, "Well, you're very young." So we have to be careful. Like we can't judge based on age.
Yes, that's true.
Right? So
Ageism is another thing.
Ageism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to, when you start doing that with somebody, just catch yourself.
And just because you have blonde hair doesn't mean you're dumb.
No.
That's another unconscious bias that a
Yes.
lot of people have. Like I've come across, I can't tell you. Like if I had a nickel for every time someone said to me, "Oh my God, Kara, because you're so out there, you're so this," I thought you were a total frosted flake, right?
Yeah,
But then I heard you speak, and I thought, "Oh, she's actually smart, right?" Like, so it's like yes, I am,
Yeah.
right? But, you know, people are perceiving you a certain
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
unconscious, and it's unconscious bias.
Oh, very much,
We
yes.
all have it, we
Yeah.
all do it. So
Yeah.
we just have to be aware that we
Yeah.
have it and that we do it, and then try and get above that. Like
Yeah.
a mentor of mine used to say to me, Kyra, approach everything from 30,000 feet in the air. And I never forgot that, because
Yeah.
when you actually do that, when you get 30,000 feet in the air and
Yeah.
you look down at something, you can actually take on a totally new perspective.
Right.
I mean, it's all about perspective.
Yes.
We were at a magic show yesterday and we were learning about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Vin.
It was so good.
It was so good.
I think one thing that would be really useful for both men and women to remember is MCAT put on the gendernomics.
Oh, I love that. That was so
And
good.
they
Thank
actually-
you, Megan. Thank you, Elaine Taylor. Thank you so much.
And they showed the brain patterns of men and women. And the men are, you know, it's so back and forth in their brains. That is literally just how they are hardwired.
Little boxes, little individual
Yes.
boxes in their brain. That's the male brain.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Let's
no.
appreciate it and
Yes.
let's learn how to effectively communicate.
Yes.
But then flip side of that is our brains are all connected. It's craziness in there.
Complete mayhem.
And one thing does touch every other thing.
Yeah.
So I think if men understood that fully,
Yeah, that's
they would
true.
not see us as crazy.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're hardwired completely
Yes,
differently.
yes.
But I think that's part of the beauty of it too, though,
Yes,
right?
yes.
'Cause that's why we're better multitaskers, just saying. Because you're pulling out one little
Yeah.
box at a time.
Yeah.
But we've got all this stuff happening, and
And we're thinking about what curtains are going to look nice too. So
exactly.
we can do a lot of things. So we're just going to talk about President Trump just for a moment, and
Okay.
not about his politics, not about anything else. I'm sure his children love him, and I'm sure there's a lot of redeeming things. And I'm also very sure that my Facebook feed knows what I think, and so it's feeding me things. But
Yeah.
he is on record making a comment about grab them by the, and I'm not going to say the word because I think it's very nasty. So, and he said that, and I think there was a collective sadness among women because we looked at that, and he said that, and then he got elected to be the president, the person who is supposed to be the leader of the free world in theory, right, when that
Yeah.
was still appropriate. And he said that, and I just remember feeling so sad, and there
Yeah.
was no outrage about it.
Yeah.
And there was even women going, well, I would let him, and people need to calm down.
Ugh.
And it just made me so sad. But because there's always good things, when you look at what happened in the next round of elections, there were women of minority, and there were more women than ever who ran for politics. So unintentionally,
Yes.
by bringing this to the surface,
Mm-hmm.
he has caused these women to go, we're done. We are stepping up, which is
Yes.
what you're trying to do.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was not what was intended, and that was not what I think a whole lot of his supporters wanted to see.
Yes.
But I just love it.
No, I think it's great.
Yes.
And maybe if that's what it took
Yes.
to help outrage the women
Yes.
to
To
step
move,
up.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and outrage can be a great emotion, right? It's why I
Yep.
started my own project.
Yes, exactly.
I got really mad, and
Yes.
it's not about going out there and, you know, making people wrong, but I can
Yes.
go do something to make things right.
Yes.
Like I can believe that things can be better than this, and just go out there and give it my best shot.
Exactly. Or in 20 years, I can still be mad, which is not a very effective
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, exactly, right? You
yeah.
can get mad, or you can go out there and do something
Yes,
about it. And I just
exactly.
chose to go out there and do something about it. And
Yeah.
I knew there'd be support, because I know I can't be the only person feeling this way,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
these things are, gotta make things better, right? And I think
Absolutely.
every generation has to do something
Yes.
to make things better, which
Yeah.
is taking me to millennials. Like they get
Yeah.
a lot of slack, but
Oh, it drives me crazy.
Oh, I love millennials.
Yes,
and for everybody who's watching, and I just recently talked about this in a blog, but the baby boomers and the Gen X's are the ones that have raised millennials.
Yeah.
Good job, right?
Yes, yeah.
You did this, so don't like turn around now and say, "Why are you eating avocado toast?" Like that's just ridiculous,
Right? Yes.
But
But
there-
that's just people. We do that with every
Yes.
new generation coming up. There's something
Sure.
you just despise about them.
But there's a lot of great things. I
Yes.
think I feel like they're a much more conscientious
Yes.
generation.
Yeah.
There's more self-awareness built into them. And I love that about them. Like I feel like, okay, it's progress. And that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
And some of it it's harder for other generations to accept and embrace
Yeah.
because it's so different
Yes.
from how we were raised and
Yeah.
what we're used to.
Yeah.
But they're not wrong.
No.
Like, and a lot of the stuff, if you actually look at it,
Yeah.
way high in the air, it's like, you know what, they're right.
Yes, and it's just part of our evolution.
It's part of the evolution.
Yes, and
Exactly.
they are who they are because of the society they were raised in and the
Yeah.
world events that were going on.
Yeah.
And that's every generation.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
I agree with you. I don't know why this generation is so vilified. And then we act like they're still like teenagers in the back of cars, right? Like, and they're not. They're buying homes and running companies, and right.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no.
it might be time to accept the millennials.
In closing, are there any last final thoughts you want to share with our audience?
I think that if we can appreciate that, if we encourage and fully allow women to be fully human and accepted and embrace all of their talents and their awesomeness, then we also allow men to do the same.
Yes.
And we can take them out of the position where their rates of depression and suicide and everything are ridiculously out of control.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, because they will be able then to be human too, right? Yeah.
Good point. Good point. So thank you, Pam. I really appreciate your time today and all your invaluable knowledge. Your true beauty right here.